Hi, friends and family. Welcome back to another pour at Blind Art Studios. So today I'm testing out my split cup. So my order of split cups came in. This one is the five chamber split cup. So 12 ounce. I thought about getting the 18 ounce or 16 ounce. I think it's 18 ounce, but then I figured that's probably too much for the canvases that I use. I mostly use 20 by 20s or 20 by 30s or 20 by 24. The largest one I've used is the 25 by 30. And that's because that's the biggest canvas they sell at Walmart. So I live in the desert. So yeah, so our biggest store is really Walmart. So I am limited by what I can find here. Anyhow, so I decided with the 12 ounce 3 cup set, and this is the 5 ounce. And so today I am loading the first chamber with dioxazine purple, the second chamber is with the brilliant purple, and the middle chamber I'm loading it with white, alternating white, gold, white, gold, white, gold. And then the next chamber is a mixture of light blue by Liquitex Basics and primary cyan, and also turquoise by Amsterdam. And then in the last or the fifth chamber, I'm going to be putting phthalo blue from Liquitex Basics. So it's a classic color palette, and because I just want to basically test out this split cup. So the difference between this split cup and my previous one is that this one has handles and also has a spout. So I'm hoping they'll do some really cool stuff. So I'm going to be using a 20 by 20-inch canvas, and I'm going to be using the Lazy Deborah as well. And I'm gonna use a base coat, and this base coat is just leftover paint that I've had. It's lime green by Liquitex Basics. So yeah, it's really pretty, but it tends to create mud with pretty much everything. So I'm afraid to use it. So I've had this, and so I'm spreading it with a cake knife. I think that's what they're called, but it's used for cooking. I love it, and I think I'm going to continue to use this one instead of like the spatula or my hands, because it does leave, like what is it called? Again, I my words, I forget my words. But anyhow, so it leaves a trace of the piece, but of what the tool that I use, but it actually looks really pretty. Like if this was to dry this way, I'd be okay with it. I think it's really nice, and I think the texture that it would create would be really awesome. But today I'm using it as a base coat, so I should stop admiring it and get ready to actually pour my paint on this canvas. So let's do that. So here we go. So this is where I decided on the swirl, the blind swirl pour. So I saw this and I went crazy with this, but it made me think that if I poured my paint in a large swirl and then went back on an opposite swirl, then the top one would I would stretch it enough so that then the bottom swirl would come up. And yeah, so then I tested quite a bit, and I that's how I decided on the blind swirl pour. It really did produce some really pretty pieces. So if you go onto my website, you'll see some of those. But anyhow, so here I think what I could have done also to make it awesome is I should have, while I was pouring originally, instead of doing the swirl from the middle to the outside, is go from the outside to the middle. I think that would have been better. But so that's what I'm going to be fixing for the next pours with this blind swirl. Now, because I did go a little crazy with, just trying not to waste any paint, I did make a little mud around the basic pour. So what I should have done is just tilt off the muddied part. But instead, I decided, you know what? I need to repour or pour more. Because one, there's a lot of paint that was left in this split cup, and so I'm afraid that I may not have enough. One, because I needed 14 to 15 ounces, and my split cup is only 12 ounces, but I figured with the base coat I'd be okay. But like I said, once I actually finished pouring with the split cup, I realized that there was a lot left in the cup. So now what I'm doing is I'm just reloading the cup in using the same colors as before, and I'm just going to pour over this ring, and hopefully doesn't make it even more muddy. Hopefully it cleans it up a little bit. So here we go. So here's the swirl, and I think this is really where I came up with the double swirl, because what do you see how I went in, did a swirl from the outside coming in and then from the inside coming out, and that really did a great. Had I stopped then, it would have been perfect, but of course I didn't. I kept pouring this paint, but as I explored this double swirl or blind swirl, I came to realize that this swirl technique is actually something that will definitely produce beautiful pieces each time. Now, just because it wasn't busy enough, I decided to go in with a small brush and do some swirls. For some reason, I didn't want to end up with just like a bunch of circles, but that probably might have been better than the end piece. The end piece is pretty, and it does have really interesting things, but it does feel super busy. You saw the picture when I in the beginning of the video, and yeah, but there's plenty of people who are gonna love that, and I actually, I really enjoyed this piece, like I said before, because I am learning quite a bit by just doing it. And then also, like I said, I'm testing out my new split cup, and I like my new split cup. It did come with instructions that scare me a little bit, because it is 3D printed. I'm afraid of like putting in hot water, or I don't know. We're in the desert, so if I leave it outside, it's probably gonna melt. So yeah, so I have to make sure I don't leave it outside. Anyhow, so here's closer to the final piece, as I use the Lazy Deborah to spin it out, and it does give it a 3D effect if you take a look at how the lines go in and out and stuff like that. So it is really pretty, but it is super busy, and but super shiny, and the colors are just stunning. They're so beautiful. Obviously the color palette is a classic one, and so yeah, I really do love this, but could be better. So like I said before, I am going to continue to modify this until I get the pour the way I want it to. So these are sort of close-ups of the final piece. See, look at all the, it looks very 3D. Like there are lines above lines, above lines, above lines, and they're very defined. So beautiful piece. Well, guys, thank you so much once again for coming to watch this video and staying till the end. I do appreciate. So this is the close-up of the final piece. It is beautiful, super 3D. There are lines above lines above lines, and they're super defined. So what looked kind of muddy when it was wet, it really was this gold. It is so pretty. Very nice. Look how this lines. Ooh. Yeah, so this is another example where, like, when it's wet, it's kind of weird and shifty, or not, no, like, yeah, it just doesn't look like it's gonna be gorgeous. But look at this. Look at the 3D stuff. See how like the lines lift and there's stuff underneath coming out. Oh, so pretty. Wow, look at this. I'm gonna call this Twister. Doesn't it look like a twister, kind of?